Welcome to another episode of In the Kink of Things. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about perceptions and what kink can look like, what people think it should look like, and why the two can be vastly different. When people think of kink, they often think of high heels, black boots, crops, black leather, latex, corsets. There's a certain image that pops into mind when you're talking about edge play. I'm going to call it edge play, even so it doesn't have to be. But it's edgy for people who aren't aware of it, haven't experienced any of it, and have only seen it either through social media or TV or any of those entertainment industries. And even the professionals have created a type of image where you're the dominatrix that, is the stern, demanding, power, like very bossy person. Well, domineering is both sexes. It just popped in my head. That's the documentary I saw. That was one of the things they were portraying. And then also like judgment around things of certain things that are, considered desires. You must be deranged in your mind. There's a different documentary where they had brought that up, where they said most sexual dysfunctions or desires of bondage or pain or unusual sexual activities come from birth trauma. Now, it may be true that birth trauma can affect us in many ways, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there's a direct correlation between cause and effect. Some people may just enjoy it. I do, for different reasons. I love finding freedom within restraint. I enjoy wearing a ball gag at certain times, not all the time, because then I could cock. But for me, it's a level of sensation. It's a symbol of, in this moment, I am giving up a certain level of control. I am restricting what I can or cannot do. And I am stretching my personal boundaries in finding freedom within that restraint. There's also levels that go deeper, like different sensations that you receive from different bondages or toys, or just different clothing. If you wear lacy lingerie, it will feel very different than if you're wearing a flannel sweater. Very different feels, very different sensations, very different frequencies of that moment, energetics, like what's going on, where are you directing your body, or what frequency are you calling in. So in that regard, there is that track of a certain look that definitely carries that frequency of kink and BDSM. And BDSM stands for bondage, domination, sadism, and masochism. Look it up. I have trouble saying that word. I'll do another one explaining different wordings, vocabulary, things around this world. Today we're talking about what it looks like, what it doesn't have to look like a certain way. Toys don't have to look a certain way. They don't have to be black and silver and chrome. the same thing. Never mind. You know, you can have pink floggers, you can have fluffies, you can have whatever you want. If you like purple hearts on everything, have purple hearts on everything. It doesn't matter what it looks like. This is all meant to be an expression of love, desire, and experience, shared experience, whether it's shared with yourself or shared between people. What makes you feel good is right for you. That's the important bit to remember. You may, when you're first starting out, be exploring different avenues, and you may want to have the complete black getup, whether it's the leather vest or the leather corset or the, frilly corset, whatever it is. If it makes you feel good, it's right for you. So don't ever let anybody tell you it has to be a certain way or has to look a certain way. Now, there are things like leather clubs or people who love latex, so they wear all latex, or they wear all leather. So there is a certain restriction within that group. But if that's what you like, go for it. But you have to find what works for you. What is your truth? What is your heart desire? I have images of clothing and shoes that I want to make in my head, and it looked absolutely nothing like traditional kink wear. But I love it. This is what lights me up. So really following your inner desires and your spark of interest. It doesn't even have to be loud. It can just be like, oh, you see something and you're like, that's interesting. And you just start exploring into that area and you see what comes of it. It may take you somewhere you never thought you were going to go, or it may take you, all the way back to where you started. Who knows? But it's the journey, it's the experience that you get to explore within yourself. That's the fun bit, is you get to explore, you get to play, you get to experiment, you get to choose what you enjoy. And some days you're not going to enjoy the same things. Some days you just want all the fluffies and all the softness and all the cuddles in the world, and that's it. And other days you may wish to have the equivalent of a loving beating. It's a full spectrum out there. Whatever you desire in the moment, and if you can do it, of course, safely, you don't want to damage yourself. Accidents do happen, but it's like anything else. It's an experience, but we want to be safe within that experience and make sure our body feels safe within that experience. So don't just ignore the signals of your body. That's another thing. Your mind and your imagination may come up with things, but your body may not be so certain it's a good idea. So when you do have certain things you want to experience and your body throws up all the red flags of like nervous system alarm, go slow. Don't go into a full-blown, like, everything scene that's hours long. Do it in short or small pieces where you can decide, okay, I want to try bondage. Okay? So instead of doing full immobilization bondage, try one limb. Okay? Use a scarf, use a rope, use a belt, and restrain your arm. And don't even tie it to anything. Just have it on your arm. It's kind of like a bracelet, right? And then use the other hand and move that arm around. See what that feels like. And then that way you can teach your nervous system. It's like, oh, well, this is interesting and it's not scary. And then you can take a foot, take an ankle, and, do the same thing to your ankle and then move that around and see what that feels like. And then you can tie two things together. You're still all free everywhere else. And if you're really activated in your nervous system, do it really loosely so you can slip out. Okay? You want to train your nervous system that it's okay. You're doing something unusual, maybe. I'm not saying all of you. Some of you might be way more experienced than I am, which is awesome. Give me a call. But work with your body. This doesn't have to be scary. If you have an interest in this, otherwise you wouldn't be listening to me talking. If you have an interest in this and you want to explore, figure out ways that you can train your body, your nervous system, that this is good, that this is nice, that you love this, and teach your body that it's safe. So you have to take the steps that allow your body to feel safe. Go further. 2 hands, 2 feet, or wrist to foot, crossways, both ways. So you still have mobility, but you are still have a sense of freedom. Then, once you've experienced that, it's all good. Or you may decide it's not for you. It's perfectly fine too. 1 limb to an object. Now you have, first do it long, so you still have mobility, but there is a level of restriction. Then go shorter and shorter. Then maybe add the leg. So you have a leg and an arm. You still have lots of spaces, right? Now if you go further and you do, if you're by yourself, do 2 legs and an arm, leave 1 exposed, okay? So you can always have that safety of releasing yourself. If you're with a partner, you have to trust that partner 100% to be fully restrained. If you don't trust your partner 100% that they will untie you when you tell them, don't let them tie you up that way. And I will tell you why. You love this so much. You're spending your time, your valuable time, to listen to me. Don't make that mistake of letting someone else play with you that you don't trust 100%, because you want to know in your heart, in your body, in your mind, that at the core of this, you are always safe. You can always say that, no, we're done. I need to get out. Whatever reason it is, you could be having a wonderful time. You're relaxing something and energy wells up in you and it triggers a dormant emotion, a dormant memory. And you just need to get out. You need to cry. Your energy switched and you need to release whatever came up. You need to know that your partner will be there for you and hold that space for you when you say, I need to get out now, that they let you out. Or you say, stop, that they stop. Doesn't matter how much fun they're having in this moment. You need to be still in control. And they can do the same thing. You could be having an amazing time and something comes up for them that's triggering them. You need to give that grace and the trust for them from you, that it's okay for them to process something, because you are going into realms of exploration, of energy work, of frequencies that can be activating, that can be clearing things. As you are exploring your sexuality, your sensuality, you are opening up things that may have been repressed in the past. And you want to be able to have that space to process when you need to. And in that regard, if that does happen, the best tool you have is your breath. Breathing deeply into your belly. If you can, through your nose. If you can't, through your mouth, it's okay too. Just make sure it's a deep breath, not a shallow breath. You want your belly expanding. You want to feel the breath going all the way down and then all the way out again. Make a sound that helps. But and then you can slow it down. And that helps you slow your nervous system down and calm your nervous system, and allowing things, even when you're activated, things are happening, you're just like, I don't know what just came up or out, or you're getting memories from past things that may have been traumatic or trauma induced, or you didn't even know that was in you and it came up. So that can happen. And this is also love. This is also a form of expression, of being yourself, becoming yourself. Because as you are exploring, as you are learning more and more about yourself, you are being more and more embodied within yourself, your heart space, your soul space, your beingness. And that is a path not for the faint of heart, or for the really timid. No, it could be for the really timid, is what I meant to say. Because it may take courage. It takes courage. It does. But it doesn't mean you have no fear. Me coming on and talking about this stuff, guys, I've been wanting to share for a long time, and it's taking me over a decade to get the courage up to talk to you guys and to speak about the subject. There's a lot in the collective field, a lot of stigma, a lot of judgment, a lot of negative projection around this topic of kink, sexuality, sensuality, self-love. I mean, we talk about self-love all the time now in the esoteric world, but it has to look a certain way. And that is where I say, no, it doesn't. It doesn't have to look a certain way. It has to be true for you. It has to feel good for you. And don't project that on anybody else. You can watch and see other people do things and decide, hey, that is interesting, or that I don't even think I want to try that. I mean, you go for it, you have your thing, but not for me. It's okay. How would you know if you didn't see it, right? How would you know if you didn't know about it? This is one of the reasons why I'm sharing, because I didn't know about myself for the longest time. And then I tried to suppress myself for the longest time because I thought people would judge me really, really harshly and wouldn't love me for who I am, and I had to be someone else. And that didn't work out really well for me. So it's time, if you choose so, to embrace who you are. And I'm saying that to myself as well. It's time to be fully embraced and to love all the bits and pieces. There's still judgment within myself, of course. And mostly because of cultural hang-ups, I guess I would say. Like, I prefer saying kink over BDSM. I know in the past, when it first came out, that was a way for that movement to have an identity. But that identity is expanding, I feel. And BDSM, those acronyms are eliminate in a way. And I know for myself, I want to explore further. I want to expand into the embodiment of spirituality through kink, through self-expression, through self-experience. And so that's why I don't like using the terms of BDSM necessarily. There's also, judgments around the words itself and misunderstanding, like being a sadist, which is defined as someone who enjoys giving pain to others. Now, in the kink sense, or the BDSM sense, that still usually means that, well, it should always mean that there's consent. That if someone else is doing something to me that would be considered on the pain spectrum, then they need to have full consent from me that they are allowed to do this. Now, the original term of sadism came from a Count de Sade, I think, something like that. And he did a lot of atrocious things to people without anybody's consent. So there's the difference. When you are a sadist within the BDSM world, you are receiving consent from other people. You're not just playing willy-nilly and doing whatever you want. This is the thing with interactions in the kink world with other people. When you're playing, you do need full consent. Communicate the heck out of things before and after. You're not always necessarily going to have the greatest communications during play, especially when you're aroused, when your brain is flooded with chemicals that you're high, honestly. You are in a different world. You are not going to have cognitive functioning necessarily. So have the talk beforehand when you can think clearly and when you have time to reflect, and then discuss things afterwards. What did you like? What did you not like? And it doesn't have to be right afterwards, because those chemicals are still going to be there for a while. Even if it's a couple hours later, the next day or the next week. I had one conversation that was like 3 months later. That was fine too. But have that check-in conversation, and check in beforehand too. When you've played with a while with somebody, you can have more of a vibe with them, I'm gonna call it, where you can read the body language, you know what kind of where they're at in the chemical sense. So you may need a little less of the full, like, checklist check-in, but you still want to check in and communicate. When you are brand new to playing with somebody, it can be beneficial, especially if you want to be a long-term play partner with somebody, to even check in during play. Especially when it's like your first time or your first couple times. It may take a little bit out of the scene, but you're like, we're still good. And they can do like, if they can't talk, like a facial expression or a thumbs up if they can do it. Just some form of prearranged communications. Don't use verbal, because verbal takes mental energies they may not have. Do something, well, you can do a sound, but words aren't necessarily going to happen. So, don't have the expectations that they're going to be able to communicate clearly with you using words. And then one of the things that is something that came up for me and a play partner is that they aren't necessarily feeling like they can fully commit to the moment, because they feel like they need to stay in cognitive control. So they are holding themselves back from fully experience the play or the scene or the interaction. So being aware of that can be important, because you may love to receive and be played, but if all your partner is doing is giving and you're only receiving, make sure that can build resentment. So make sure they are also receiving what they need. It may mean that you switch scenes, or that they have a different play partner that plays with them. And everybody's different. Some people are only in the topping role, which means they do things to somebody. And some people are only on the bottoming role, which means they only receive. Some people switch, which ironically is called a switch, where they both give and receive. They're both top and bottom. So there's very many different dynamics, but making sure that whoever you play with, they also have their needs met, that you have your needs met, and that sometimes things look very different than what you may have thought it could, that you may have to go slower than you wanted to, but don't rush things necessarily. Enjoy the experience. You don't need to have that grandiose play, theme, process, experience that you've been cultivating in your mind for a decade or more. It's okay to build up to that, but don't just go experience that and then you're like, oh, I did it, I'm done, now what do I do? Like, give yourself that grace and give yourself that joy of taking little bites. It's like having a giant cake. Enjoy it one bite at a time. You're gonna have much more enjoyment of it than trying to shove it all in your face at once. That's the same with play. Enjoy the small scenes, enjoy the small experiences, instead of trying to do the big bang, grandiose thing all at once. You have a lifetime to explore and enjoy. And I know for some of you, it's like, hey, I'm 80, whatever, or, I have this illness, I only have a certain amount of time. You still have this now moment. And after that, you have another now moment until you are done with this human life. Enjoy every moment. Don't be afraid of not getting enough in the moment. When you are fully present within yourself, when you're not thinking about the what ifs, when you are feeling in the body in the now, you will have a fuller, richer, grandiose experience than anything else your mind can imagine. And with that, I hope you guys have a lovely week and enjoy being you. Love y'all. Bye for now.